Hello and welcome to the Corona Yoga Challenge. Today is day 97 and I'm not going to tell you what, but I have got a treat for day 100. It's a proper treat. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Please make sure that you check my website, make sure that you're keeping safe and adapting. Do subscribe if you want to, and we are going to come onto our all fours to start with. So if you bring yourself around and into all fours so that you can be nice and comfortable, you're going to have just a little bit of space between the hands, so the hands are wide enough so that you feel stable and secure. And the same thing with the knees, they could be slightly wider than the hips, but not so much. You're going to let your hips slide from one side to the other side. So nice, lazy, easy movement over the lower back. And then you're going to bring your hips to the centre. You're going to slide your hips forwards and back. So again, smooth, easy movement over the spine. Enjoying that feeling of the tailbone releasing down towards the hips as the hips come back. Coming back into all fours. From all fours, you're going to start to arch up through the back of the body, release the head down. And then as you inhale, or when you feel like it, extending out. So extending out so you get a little lift through the head, just a little one. It could be looking between your hands or slightly beyond. And then again, we're just going to flow back and forth. So allow your breathing to start to let the movement happen freely. So you're following the movement of your breath. You're allowing the physical body to follow the breath pattern, and you're allowing the spine to gently uncurl and undo as you move. So today we're going to do puppy pose. So we're going to take ourselves down and onto our elbows. So if you take your elbows a little wide and your hands, they can be one on top of one another. And you're going to start to draw your chest down towards the floor. So you're just going to ease your hips back, or keep your hips high, but ease your chest back. And then bring yourself forwards. Let your shoulders come forwards of your hands or your arms if you'd like. And then same thing, you're going to ease your hips up, chest down. And then bring yourself back. What we're going to do is we're going to have the option of taking the elbows a little bit further away. So this means you get more room for your back if you would like. So from here, you're going to draw your chest down towards the floor, and you're going to keep your hips as high up as possible. You can rest your head onto the floor if it's comfortable, but you're just enjoying that feeling of easing down. So just breathe out and come into that resting version of this pose. So you're allowing your body to expand, you're allowing your body to widen out into this. And then take a little bit of weight into the hands, you're going to arch your back up towards the ceiling, and then we're going to come back and into all fours. So nice, comfortable all fours position. We're going to walk ourselves back and into standing. So you're going to take your hands back towards your knees, lift up through your hips, soften through the knees, support down through your thighs, so your elbows on your thighs, so you can be folding forwards nice and easily. A little bit of length up through the tailbone, up through the back of the legs. And then bend through the knees, spread wide and up through the hands, and then down to your heart. If you bring yourself so that you've got some comfortable space around you, and so that you've got a little bit of support from a something, if you know that you are going to prefer that. We're going to come into a small version of tree pose today. So what we're going to do is from standing, stay nice and even through the pelvis. Can you fold one knee forward so that the pelvis doesn't do this kind of lovely movement for some things, but not so much for this right now. So the knee is just sliding forward, so we get that feeling of stability through the body. And then we're going to step the foot so it comes just over the other side, and you can gently spread out and into your toes. So the toes that touch the floor. So we've got a nice feeling of support coming down through the normal standing leg and a connection down through the lighter leg, but the connected foot is slightly lighter. Hands are going to come up and overhead. You're going to let your hands join, shoulders sink down, and then you can let your hands come down and onto your head. And then then extend up through the hands, all the way out and all the way down. Keep hitting the wall, that's the window, that's why my hand does a strange thing. Just let yours be free if you've got space. And then you're going to step yourself out, back to both feet even. And we're going to come to the opposite side. So start with nice, easy, steady standing. Then float the knee forward. See if you can step the knee forwards with limited disturbance through the hips. So come on the foot that's, the heel that's lifted, toes on that foot, can you just gently spread them out along the floor like they're growing roots. So not clamping, not tight, not hard, not stressed, but just like, yeah, totally alive. And then let your hands come up and overhead, sink down through the shoulders, and then let your hands come down and onto your head. Extend up and all the way out and down. And then you're going to come to your first side again, so you can step yourself over and into that pose. You can be right on the tips of the toes if you'd like, but sometimes it's helpful to have the toes extending a little bit on the floor because it makes them a little bit more active and alive. You're going to do the same thing, letting your hands come up and overhead. This time, as you sink your hands down, you're going to sink through the supporting legs. So we get that little bit close to the ground. And then stretch up through the leg, up through the hands, all the way out and all the way down. And then come to the opposite side, so settled feet. And then over to the opposite side. A little bit of aliveness through that bent leg foot. Hands are going to come up and overhead. Hands join, shoulders sink. And then sink down with the hands, down through the supporting leg. And then stretching up and overhead, all the way out and away. And then back to both feet just settled and even. If you take your feet just a little bit wide, let your hands come onto your legs, and you're just going to ease your hips out. So bend one knee, bend the other knee, let the hips roll around from one side to the other. Do what feels good for your back. And then come back to the centre, bend through your knees. Ooh, bring yourself all the way up and overhead, and down to the sides. We're going to come down to the floor now, so if you want to bring yourself to lying onto your back. So you're going to be rested onto your back, and you're going to bring your knees over your chest, so you get that feeling of just being able to ease your knees from one side to the other to allow the lower back to feel settled and comfortable. And then you're going to take the balls of your feet onto the floor, and you're going to take your feet quite wide. So on your mat, think about taking your feet towards the edges of the mat. And then you're going to let your hands rest wide and onto the floor and shrug your shoulders down. So we're getting that feeling of making lovely contact with the floor beneath you. So from here, you're going to let your knees rock over to one side. And because the knees are wide, or the feet are wide, you'll find that you'll end up with a situation where your knees might stay high away from the floor, but as they come close to the floor, you come closer to like that position where the foot and the knee are making some form of contact. The hand that you've come away from, so the foot, the one on the side of your foot, so this one, see if that one wants to come up and overhead. So in some ways it reduces the twist on the spine, but it's quite a nice way of making the body feel a little bit more like a slightly lazy pussycat, which is always a good thing in yoga, or just about always a good thing in yoga. Bringing your hand back to extending out towards the side. You're going to press down through the feet to bring your legs up to the centre, or your knees up to the centre, and then we're going to slide over to the opposite side, seeing if you can keep with that feeling of a little bit of activity through the feet. So we're not just flopping into it, we want to be alive all the way from all parts of the body all at once. Again, let the hand that you've come away from come up and overhead. See if you can get that really enjoyable kind of lazy but totally alive feeling. And then you're going to bring your hand back out into the side. You're going to lift up through the knees so you come back and onto your back. You're going to bring your knees over your chest so you give them that little hug in. And then we're going to come to sitting. So if you just want to bring yourself up in a way that's comfortable for you, and if you bring yourself to a settled position. So first of all, just let your breathing get nice and settled. So allow the breathing to get slightly lower in the body so that you're beginning to be more aware of the physical movement that is allowing your body to expand as you breathe. And now as you're breathing out, you're going to imagine that your breath is making a nice, long, steady, smooth stream. And in pregnancy yoga, we often do this through the mouth. And you can do that if you like, but doing it out through the nose is absolutely good too. And you're imagining that your breath is making that long, smooth, almost like ribbon, out towards the distance, so way beyond you. And you're seeing if you can make that ribbon a little bit longer and a little bit longer, whilst feeling entirely comfortable. And you're going to start to notice what happens in your tummy, what happens in the rib cage as you breathe out and you make that ribbon that little bit longer. And then let your breathing just settle to normal, to this normal, because normal is always changing. So this normal, this moment, how does your body want to breathe? How does it feel? So my challenge for you today is, I was having such a laugh with friends about lockdown purchases and who had the worst purchase. So I've got one who's brought herself a sewing machine and so far has sewn, I think, 2 masks. So she says it's the most expensive sewing machine ever because those 2 masks have cost about £100 or so. But actually I managed to trump it because in my kind of wisdom, when I was self-isolating, I of course had more time to myself, and this nice little pop-up came up of this lovely looking outfit which I bought and it's absolutely hideous. It is so horrible. It is, it's a real shocker. I put it on for everyone, and they were like, "Wow, that's impressive. That is well impressive." It is t-shirt material, all in one. It's got straps, and it supposedly like rolls up at the bottom, so you just look really relaxed. But actually, it's like such cheap material. Came from China, so I was going to have to pay £10 to return it to get a refund. Oh my goodness. Yeah. It utterly hideous. I thought, well, I'll just wear it in the garden. I can't even do that. I can't bring myself to wear it in the garden. So it might not be a lockdown purchase, but see if you can celebrate some really, really bad purchase. Like you're like, wow, I spend proper money on that. Fantastic. Because, the mistakes we make are as important as the things that we get right. My quote from you today comes from the Everyday Meditator with Osho. But it's not his quote. His quotes are rather long. This is a quote from Ikkyu. We come into this world alone, we depart alone. This also is illusion. I will teach you the way, not to come, not to go. We come into this world alone, we depart alone. This also is an illusion. I will teach you the way, not to come, not to go. And that is my quote for the day. Hope you have a super day. It is very warm and very sunny, and I hope you enjoy that. And if you don't, I hope you go get yourself a nice lolly or something, or find a cold room.